This is Physical Education 6200 with a description of team sports. And today we will be discussing about the official hand signals in game basketball. But first, let us identify the two referees or the two officials in volleyball game. First official, the R1 or up referee. The first referee is the official that stands on the referee stand, positioned on the side of the court across the team benches. It is the first referee that starts play by whistling and signaling the server to serve the ball. The first referee is the official in charge. If they feel it's necessary to do so, the first referee has the authority to overrule any of the other officials, second referee, scorekeeper, libero tracker, or line judges. Also, the first referee may have official replays if it is needed. The volleyball referee should discuss before the match on what the second referee needs to signal to the first referee. Legal ball handling, legal back row, and blocks and attacks, and others. The first referee whistles any violations. It is the first referee's responsibility to whistle any and all violations they see. If possible, the second referee should whistle net violations, center line violation, serve-receive position faults, and serving order violation. If the second official doesn't catch the violation, the first referee has the authority to make the call. The first referee whistle player mishandling the ball. Only the first referee has the authority to whistle ball handling, lips, double contacts, forehits, and others. If appropriate, the second referee may discreetly signal ball handling to the first referee. The first referee giving sanctions. Only the first referee has the authority to issue sanctions to the players, coaches, and others. Second official, the R2 or down referee. The second referee or umpire stands on the ground on the opposite side of the court from the first referee. The second referee should position themselves so they can effectively transition from one side of the net to the other when the ball is in play. The second referee is concerned with matters such as keeping time, assisting the first referee making calls, administering substitution, and verbally communicating with team coaches. The second referee also needs to communicate effectively with the scorekeeper. The second referee should overlook the scorekeeper with the recording subs, timeouts, and others. The second referee should help the scorekeeper and the libero tracker with any questions or issues that come up. The second referee watch teams for overlaps during the serve. Watch the receiving team at the moment the ball is served for overlaps. Second referee switching sides of the net. The second referee switches positions one side of the net to the other during the match, always staying on the side opposite the ball. The second referee handles substitutions. Second referee administers subs, making sure the subs are recorded properly on the score sheet. When the scorekeeper has finished recording subs, a hand signal is given to the first referee signaling play is ready. The second referee handles timeouts. When a coach or team captain calls timeout, the second referee should blow the whistles and signal timeout. The second referee times the timeouts, whistle at the end of time, and signal how many timeouts have been taken by each team. And this is our officials in volleyball game and their duties and responsibilities during game. So the first referee is the official in charge of the game, and the second referee will be the referee managing on the court. And now let's move on to the officials' hand signals. First, we have authorization to serve. The first referee hands moves to indicate the direction of the service after confirming that both teams are ready to play and that the server has the ball. So it is the duty of the referee, the first referee, to signal an authorization to serve if one team or the other team or both team is ready for the ball. Next is team to serve. The arm extended towards the team who will serve, occurring mostly after a fault. So the referee will signal team to serve, straight arms forward to the server, signaling that the possession of the ball or the team who has the privilege to serve will be signaled by the referee. Another one is change of cards. Arms are raised on the front and back and twist them around the body to indicate the switching of cards of opposing team. This happens after each set, except if it is the deciding set. We all know that in a match, there is a maximum of 5 sets. And in every set, there is a change of cards, except if it is in the deciding set or in the fifth set. Timeout. Form a letter T using both hands by placing the palm of one hand over the fingers of the other hand held vertically. After that, an arm extended towards the team who requested for the timeout. And this must be made when the ball is considered out of play and before whistling indicating service. So these timeouts often last for about 30 seconds. So once the referee is on the ball, or there is a violation committed, or there is a substitution, it is time, or it is the privilege of the coach to call for a timeout. Another one is substitution. The forearms do a circular motion around each other to indicate substitution of player. Substitution is when a player enters the game in place of participating player who needed to exit the court. But in our rules in volleyball, you cannot substitute anyone unless it is your buddy or partner, or what we call the buddy-buddy system. So you are going to substitute with only one player for the whole game or for the whole set of the game. Next one is misconduct, warning, or misconduct penalty. So this is the indication of showing a yellow card and a red card. A yellow card signals warning and a red card signals a penalty. Warnings refer to minor misconducts committed by the player. The referee always issues a verbal warning first before the appearance of the yellow card. So this is the job of the first referee to issue a yellow card or even a red card. But before that, the referee will always issue a verbal communication with the player before the appearance of the cards. So any misconducts include rude conduct, offensive conduct, and aggression. When the misconduct escalates, it may result to a penalty symbolized by the red card. The team member is penalized with a point and service to the opponent. In other words, once the player commit any misconduct behavior or any offensive conduct and aggression, and it will escalate or continues, the referee will be given or will give a red card. And the penalty is 1 point advantage for the opponent and also a service or authorization to serve or team to serve. Next is expulsion. Both cards are held up in one hand to signal expulsion from the game. When the player has been signaled expulsion, he shall not play for the rest of the set and must be substituted legally and immediately. She must also stay in the penalty area. This time expulsion, the referee will raise his hands with both cards, and the player must stay in the penalty area in the rest of the set. Next is disqualification. Both cards are held up in separate hands to signal disqualification from the game. And this sanction requires the player who committed the misconduct to be substituted legally and immediately and must leave the competition control area for the rest of the match. In other words, the player can no longer stay on the bench. He will leave the competition control area or the venue of the game because of the two cards shown by the referee, and that is for disqualification. End of set or match. Forearms cross the front of the chest with both hands laid, often signal the end of the match or set. The end of the match is signaled when the match is won by a team who won 3 sets. Again, we have a maximum of 5 sets, and once a team won for 3 sets, the referee will signal that this is the end of the set or match. Ball not toss or release at the services. An extended arm lifts with the palm facing up to indicate that the ball was not tossed or released at the service hit. In the execution of the service, the ball must be hit with one hand or any part of the arm after being tossed or released. So on the skills in service, you must toss or release the ball before you hit it. And it is a violation if you're going to throw or not releasing the ball or not hitting the ball well. The referee will call you for a violation by extending his arms and pointing to the service area, meaning that there is a violation of ball not toss or release at the service hit. Delay in service. Referee holds up 8 fingers to indicate the delay in service. The server must hit the ball within 8 seconds after the referee whistle. After the referee calls for authorization to serve, the referee will count for the server to hit the ball for about 8 seconds. And if he failed, delay in service will be called by the referee by showing his 8 fingers above his head. Blocking fault or screening. Both arms are raised vertically to indicate a blocking fault or screening. Screening is executed by waving arms or jumping and moving sideways during the service. The members of the serving team must not block the view of the server from the opponents. If it happens like if Team A or player A of Team A is serving the ball, the frontman or the player in the front zone is not advisable or is not allowed to wave his hands or even jumping or moving sideways, because that is a violation. It is a screening or what we call a blocking fault also. Because in the rules of volleyball, the ball must be visible to the receiver before it's served. Positional or rotational fault. So there are two. So the positional fault is committed when the player is not in his designated position at the time of the service of the ball. While rotational fault, on the other hand, is committed when the player is not the person who is supposed to serve according to the service order and the player's position of the set. So the referee will rotate his finger clockwise, signaling that there is a positional fault and or there is a rotational fault. Positional fault happens once there is a service and the opponent or the receiving team has an overlaps in the line, this is a positional fault. But if it is a rotational fault, there is a mistake or there is not, or there is a wrong player to serve the ball, and that is a rotational fault. Another one is ball in. The arms and fingers point toward the floor to signal that the ball is in the game. The ball is considered in if some part of the ball touches the court, including the boundary line. So once the ball landed inside it is ball in. And once the ball landed on the boundary lines or even the sidelines, it is also ball in. Next, ball out. Forearms are raised vertically with both hands and palms open towards the direction of the body. The ball is considered out if the ball falls outside the boundary lines or it touches the area or object outside the court. So once the ball goes outside in the sideline or even the end line, it is a ball out. Once it touches on the post or even the antenna or any object outside, it is considered a ball out. Next is catch. One forearm is lifted slowly with the palm of the hand facing upward. Catch is when the ball is caught or thrown, but it does not rebound from the hit. So by the rules in volleyball, you must hit the ball. Do not catch it or even do not hold it. So the referee will signaling this like moving his palm upward. The only difference in ball not toss or not release in signaling a catch, the hand of the referee is near his body or her body. Now there is double contact. Two fingers are raised to indicate double contact. Double contact is when the player hits the ball twice consecutively or the ball touches his or her body in succession. So you are not allowed or the player is not allowed to hit the ball twice because the referee will call you for a double contact or two touches or any part of your body that the ball is in touch with a succession. Four hits, four fingers are raised up in the event of four hits or when the members of the team hit the ball 4 times before passing it to the opponent's side. So you are only given 3 hits in volleyball, but 4 hits is not allowed and this is a violation. Another one is net touch by player. Serve the ball fails to pass to the opponent through crossing phase. The referee points to the respective side of the net where the player touches or if the serve ball does not go to the opponent's side. This is caused by a player from serving team touching the ball or failing to cross the vertical plane of the net. It happens during the service. So once the player served the ball and not pass to the net or over the net, it is a violation. It is a serve ball fails to pass to the opponent through crossing space. Net touch by a player happened between a spiker or a hitter and also a blocker once they touch the white bands or the above the net white bands. So the referee will call for this violation and he will touch the side of the net. Another one is reaching beyond the net. The referee places a hand above the net with the palm facing downwards to indicate the player has touched the ball or an opponent's face during or before the opponent's attack. So the player is not allowed to reach beyond the net of the opponent during an attack or even the ball is not truly passing over the net. So the player or the opponents or even the defensive player is not allowed to touch the ball crossing the net, and he will be called or the player will be called for reaching beyond the net. Another is attack hit fall from a vertical position of the arm above the head. The forearm makes a downward motion with the hand open. A player may commit the following faults of the attack hit. She hits the ball within the playing space of the opponent team. A player hits the ball to an out. A player in the back row hits the ball for an attack from the front zone at the moment when the ball is higher than the top of the net. So if you are a back row player, you are not allowed to hit or spike the ball in the front zone while the ball is also higher than the top of the net. and the referee will do a downward motion of his forearm, presenting that there is an attack hit ball. Penetration into the opponent court, ball crossing the lower space, or server touches the court, or the player steps outside his court at the moment the serve is hit. So the referee points to the center of the relevant line of the court when the player commits the aforementioned faults. Penetration into the opponent court is similar to crossing to the center line. Once the player crosses his or her both feet onto the opponent court, the referee will just pointing on the lane. Ball crossing the lower space or the server touches the court, meaning there is a violation happen on the service. The player or the server is stepping on the line. And once the ball is ready to serve or the server hit the ball, you are not allowed to step outside on the court while the ball is in serving. Double fault or free play. Both thumbs of the referee are raised vertically if two or more faults are committed by the opponent's side consecutively, and this signal indicates the replay of the rally. So double fault or free play. Once the first referee failed to see the violation, or even the judge line, the second referee also did not see any violation, and there is no judgment given by the first referee will automatically signal double fault or a replay. Ball touch. The open palm of one hand brushes against the tips of the fingers of the other hand in a vertical position. First, it happens between a spiker and a blocker. Once a hitter hit the ball, and the ball touched on the finger pads or any part of the hands of the blocker and went outside, the referee will call it for a ball touch. And remember that, for example, once the ball is in service, so player A served the ball and the opponent received the ball and went outside, that is not a ball out. This is a ball touch because the ball has been touched or had been touched by the player. Delay warning, delay penalty. The referee covers his wrist with a yellow card or red card, depending on what the player has committed. So the first delay warrants a warning. If there are following delays of any type in the same team, a delay penalty is made and a point and service is awarded to the opponent. So there is a 1-point advantage and also a service will be given to the opponent. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.